Well, we begin with a new and disheartening poll on the direction of where our country is headed and what they reveal about the core values that have defined us as a country for generations. New Wall Street Journal polls showing patriotism, religious faith, having children, and hard work have declined in importance to Americans. Check this out. Patriotism plummeted over the last 25 years. Back in 1998, 70% of those surveyed ranked it as being very important to them. Now, just 38% feel that way. More than 60% said religion was very important to them in 1998. Today, well, it's less than 40%. And family values like having children also have dropped sharply. In 1998, 59% of Americans believed having children was very important. Now, just 30% do. The polls are not entirely surprising. We have seen the deterioration of America's core values right before our very eyes. You don't have to look far. From the distortion of the American flag as a symbol of patriotism into one of oppression. And while the kneeling for our national anthem on one football field, well, that was applauded pretty widely, the kneeling of a Christian high school football coach, Coach Kennedy, in prayer on another football field, that got him fired. It took the Supreme Court to right that wrong. Meanwhile, children are being taught that America is systemically, racist. And for those of you without kids, well, the left says don't have them for the sake of the planet. The polls just reaffirm what we've been witnessing for decades, the decline of American values that have helped define the national character of our country. Harris, you look at the direction, particularly of our young people, the fentanyl overdoses, the 1 in 3 girls that are considering suicide, the social media addictions, all of the maladies that are plaguing a generation. And you've got to believe this has something to do with it, deterioration of faith, of family, of country.
You know, I was reading recently, and I knew that a number of churches had closed. 4,500 Protestant churches closed in 2019.
Wow.
According to the latest data available, 3,000 new churches opening. But that's out of balance. And, you know, the lockdowns during the pandemic didn't help. I mean, you could, and you often hear me say this, you could have alcohol delivered to your front porch. You could go to a weed dispensary, not for medical needs necessarily, but for any needs.
Why are you looking at me?
I know. No, she avoided me on that.
We all know about your bad habit, Ari.
I'm sure you weren't hitting up the weed dispensaries. I'm sorry. It was just I was just looking at that side of the couch. But the churches were closed for worship. Yeah. And I would have religious leaders tell me, Harris, what is it if we are not here during the toughest times for people to come? And it's a great question. And so when you see the closing churches out of balance with how many are opening, by over 1,000 or more, that really is a problem. But I think this is key, and I'll be quick with this. Are we going to show people when you're mightily blessed what that looks like? Are we going to pray with our children at dinner in public? I do with mine.
Yep.
Are we going to show people what being blessed really means? It's not the car you arrived in. It's the people who will help you push it if it breaks down. It's like, you know, who are you with at your table out in public and they see that you're blessed? They see, oh my gosh, it's Harris Faulkner. She's on whatever. If I say that I am blessed, I should show that.
Yeah.
I mean, how are young people going to learn what to really strive for? It's not the money. It's not the job. It is the time, the eye contact, the love in our hearts, the kindness, the things that we have the blessings to share. Yeah. We can shed our grace. We have to start doing that.
I'm so glad you mentioned, sorry to cut you off there, churches and their closures during COVID, because Ari, you know, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh repeatedly said, you know, the weed dispensaries are open, the casinos are open, the church doors are shut, targeted in a way that secular businesses weren't. But it shouldn't take Supreme Court justices to do that. It should be in the heart of Americans, a cultural heart of our country, that this is important. Houses of worship, even if you're not a person of faith, they're important for those who do profess faith.
You know, I'm so glad that this segment has come up, because for all the hard news there is in the world, there's also news like this that endures. And it really scratches the itch about what's wrong with America when you break down the lack of patriotism, the changes in our feelings about cultural matters and personal family matters. You know, there's a reason that we look back in time and call one generation of Americans the greatest generation.
Yeah.
And when you talk about them being the greatest, what made them great? Yes, they defeated the Nazis in World War II, but what were their morals? They were religious people. They were married. They had all the patriotism. It's the very things this poll talked about that were prevalent in the 90s that were brought to us by the greatest generation and the baby boomers. And we really have slid away from it. And it's an uncomfortable feeling. It's a feeling like that something is unmoored in our society. And you know, just from a personal point of view, I was raised saying a prayer every night and every morning. And then I got away from it for decades. I started doing that again about a year ago. And there's a feeling of solace, of peace that comes with doing that. And it's those little things, and it's those things that you want to teach to your children, hope new generations. And I love what you said about praying in public and let other people see it. There's something strong about that.
Thank you. Not everybody agrees with that.
Oh.
It's so well said. I mean, you know, Cheryl, you know, we pray with my daughter before we go to bed, and now my son, we read her a Bible story. And no matter what faith you are, for me, that's my place of faith. But for my daughter, she's going to have something when the going gets tough, when those social media viral images come, and the eating disorders and the pressures and all of this. She's going to have something to look to and say, this is bigger than that. This is bigger than what I'm facing. And I think that is what we're missing, especially among young people.
I'm Episcopal, and one of the things that our church gives to my family is a sense of community and a sense of a place to go, to be together, to celebrate, to be grateful. And so many things in this new poll I found where you see such a lack of those, that, especially the younger generation, I call them the snowflake generation, they're not grateful for the greatest generation, which was my grandfather who fought in World War II, which was my grandparents who were children during the Great Depression, who didn't have any food on the table. And especially when you look at this poll, and I was looking at them and their views of the economy, 80% say the nation's economy is poor, not so good. 47% said it's getting even worse over the next year. And you know what? That is true. We are going into a recession. And a lot of these younger folks, and I hate to target the under 30, but I'm going to, they've never been through the Great Recession, the 2008 financial crisis. They think that Starbucks and having a fully charged iPhone are the most important things that they should have every day. And it's not. And with all the job losses we're starting to see, especially in technology companies, I think that it makes me sad, but I'm not surprised by the numbers that I found in this poll.
To that point, Marie, because you brought up money. Marie, look at this. This was so sad. The only priority the journal tested that has grown in importance in the past quarter century is money, which was cited as very important by 43%, up from 31%. Also, tolerance for others deemed very important by 80% in 1998, now down to 58%. So love of money up, lack of tolerance ever present.
And corporate profits, you know, off the charts, the middle class struggling. Certainly, we talk about the economy a lot, and I think Cheryl touched on a lot of that. It's been a hard 20 years in some ways since the last time this poll was conducted. We went through the Great Recession. We went through 9/11. We went through the Iraq War. We went through 20 years of war, not just in Iraq, but in Afghanistan. And so I think you have to look at it in that lens also. But for me, the thing about patriotism that I've always liked is that it's not, again, for me, a definition of our country's always been perfect. Our country's always been right. We talk about the greatest generation, and my grandfather was part of that. Our country was also still segregated in the 40s and 50s, right? So it wasn't perfect. We fought for these freedoms. We fought for more equality for minorities, for women. And it's an ever continuing process of getting towards that more perfect union. And I think what a lot of Democrats might say, I don't represent all of them, but what a lot might say is the word patriotism has been weaponized politically. Especially on the right, a lot of us would argue around the Iraq War, around issues after 9/11, and that religion has been in some ways weaponized, that if you don't pray or believe like certain parts of the country, that somehow people are made to feel less than. And the beauty about this country is we can all pray how we pray, and you can choose as an American to pray or not pray, to be part of a religion, to not be, and you are still part of the fabric of the country. And so I think the poll is getting at some of these tricky cultural issues.
Yeah, can't do that in Iran.
Patriotism should be bigger than any one political party. And
It should be, you're right.
you know,
I
September
agree.
11th, 2001 was an example where we were all one country, and we could use a little more unity right now.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.